Happy Valentine's Day. Back to the football. Hello everyone, it is TIJ and welcome to episode 9 of our first season of Conquering the Euro on Football Manager 2019 with Liverpool. And today we played 2 games in the Europa League in the first knockout round, the home and away leg against Shakhtar Donetsk in the Europa League. Now, it's light snow in Ukraine tonight, which is the worst conditions that we've played in all season. So it'll be interesting to see if this has an effect on the players. Not just the singular player, the players of the team. But we've made a few transfers since I've last been with you, so let's talk through those, shall we? Now, Nathaniel Klein's left the club. He's gone to Arsenal, and to be fair, I thought that was quite a decent deal. We got 25 million out of him, and ever since Alexander Arnold's come to fruition for Liverpool, it seems that Nathaniel Klein's just been completely out of the picture. He's played a few games for us this season, but Arsenal came for I think it was a 20 million bid initially, and I thought, can we get up to 30 what his value is? We couldn't quite, but 25 million is double what we paid for him, plus we've got Alexander Arnold there now. So there isn't really need for anyone as good as Klein, and I think that's a good deal. We also signed Mignolet, which I talked about earlier on. Not signed him, we sold Mignolet to Spartak Moscow for 10.25 million. In all fairness, we broke even on Mignolet, but he's had many successful years with Liverpool. But with Alisson coming in, he's just never going to get a place. So I thought, yeah, let's get rid of him whilst we got the chance at Spartak Moscow put a good offer in. But our only money transfer, and I'll use that as a loose term, our only financial, I suppose, burden of a transfer this January transfer window was Joe Hart from Burnley. Now, an interesting signing this is. Joe Hart's had his career tarnished by Pep Guardiola, basically. He's been on loan to West Ham and he's gone to Burnley, but in game, he didn't play a game for Burnley this season. He was getting really frustrated, and as a result, he wanted to leave the club, and I thought, they wanted 25 million first off, which is quite crazy, but we got him for 11 million in the end, which effectively means it was a straight swap for Simon Mignolet. But we bought a few players in. I think we've only bought the one player in on a free next year. And you'll laugh at this. Mario Balotelli is coming back to Anfield, folks. Now, this might be the most stupidest signings ever, but I just thought, I had a hunch. I thought, why not? He's had 2 really good years in Ligue 1 with Nice. It doesn't seem he's having such a good campaign this year. But we've got Sturridge, who possibly might leave the club, because Man City are massively interested in Sturridge. Although it doesn't say they are now, but he did have interest from City in the past. But we've also got Firmino, but apart from that, there's not really any solid strikers at the club. And I thought, you know what? Let's bring Balotelli in. He hasn't got the best of stats in terms of recommendation, but some of his stats are very appealing. And I thought, it's a free transfer. It's not really going to hurt us that much. So, be interesting to see how that one works. Joan Morris left the club on a free, but apart from that, there's not really much to talk about, including that. But if you look at the schedule, it looks a lot better from when I last showed you that schedule. Obviously, we beat Manchester United in the League Cup semi-final, which means we've got the game next episode against Tottenham in the final. But since that game, we've won in the FA Cup 4th round, which sets up as a Middlesbrough game, which is midway between these 2 games tonight. We've got Fulham, we played Fulham, after that, and we beat them 3-0 quite comprehensively. Even though Fabinho missed a penalty, we dominated Fulham. And then we drew 1 each with Chelsea, which was really frustrating after beating them 4-2 away from home at the start of the season. Firmino got the first goal, Willian got one back, and even though Luiz got sent off, we couldn't quite capitalise on that sending off for Chelsea. And then most recently, we've just played Southampton, who are actually doing very well in the league. And it was 2-2 up until Daniel Sturridge scored a late goal to give us the full 3 points. So after that run of games, that means the table looks like this. And that looks a lot better than it did in the past. You can see our league positions vaguely there. We've been as low as 12th, 13th there actually. So to get as far as Europa League and possibly Champions League qualification is very good. And apart from the Champions League, we're doing very well in all the other competitions. We're set up for potentially a League Cup win. We could reach the final of the FA Cup. That one looks like a good match against Middlesbrough. And then we're stuck in the Europa League, which is a competition we don't particularly want to be in. But nonetheless, we're in the competition, and I believe in a competition you should always go for the win, because you're not there to have a good time. You're there to win at the end of the day in football. But it's Valentine's Day, which hence why I said at the start. I didn't say it for any random reason. But for today's Valentine's game in Ukraine in the night snow, bit romantic, I suppose it might be, potentially. But we've got Becker in goal with Alexander Arnold, Van Dijk, Gomez and Moreno at the back. Fabinho fills in as a defensive midfielder with Milner and Wijnaldum in the midfield. Salah and Shaqiri on the wings as Sadio Mane is still recovering from his injury, which he's had for the last 6 or 8 weeks. But he is match fit, but I'm going to leave him out today. And then for Roberto Firmino is up front. Now, I'm really pleased with the form we've got with Liverpool now, actually. I said, didn't I, in those Christmas episodes, that few episodes when we had a few losses, I kept saying to you guys, look, when we get past these points, we'll be fine. And everything will be fine. And luckily the club has given us more confidence now. They've said that they've got no plans to sack me, because obviously we had a board meeting a few episodes ago, but we've got no plans to sack me, which is absolutely fantastic. But I think the Europa League's going to be a little bit of a burden, because unless we go for winning the Europa League, a little bit like we did last year on Football Manager in the first season, we got knocked out of the Champions League and we went for the Europa League win and we actually won it. But I don't want to risk our form and our morale by setting out a weaker team to go and lose these games. That just seems wrong to me, and I think that even though people call it the UEFA Cup and oh, it's a waste of time, it's still a very good big trophy. There's some big teams in this, obviously a lot of teams coming from third place in the Champions League, and it's no mean feat to go and win this competition. But the away game today, all we're looking to do is hopefully avoid conceding and just keep it level, really, I'd say. So 0-0 works perfectly for us, but hopefully we can get a goal on the score sheet. And unfortunately, Milner just about missed that one. It was pretty much on target, but sailing over the bar. But it looks like we've had a lot of long-range efforts so far. As you can see, there's some good clubs in the Europa League. The likes of Shakhtar, obviously, Schalke, Monaco, Milan, Chelsea, Sevilla, Salzburg, Marseille, just to name a few. There's some very good clubs in this. And whilst I'm disappointed that we're not in the Champions League, I do think that there wasn't really much hope of us winning the Champions League, which kind of makes it a bit pointless to be in there. I mean, we lost a few games in the Champions League group stage, so therefore we deserve to go out. And I don't think we'd have gone all the way like we did last year in real life. So it was just a burden for us. But I do feel in this Europa League that we could potentially go all the way. But there's a long way to go just yet before we get there. But Firmino to Salah. Salah squares it into Wijnaldum, and it's a series of deflections. But nonetheless, Ordetz put it in the back of the net for Shakhtar, and it's 1-0 to us, which gives us an away goal, which is absolutely fantastic, and a good foot for the rest of the game. Low pass, though, from Firmino there. Past the defender to Salah. Salah put it in the box, and it was a bit of a deflection from Ordetz first off, which veered it to Wijnaldum. He had a shot towards the defender. The goalkeeper was fumbled, and it was a defensive balls up, basically, that meant that they put it in the back of the net. But I'm more than happy with that. We should be 1-0 up at half-time. And if we keep this going, hopefully, if we can score another one here, then they have to beat us 3-0 at Anfield, or by 3 goals, depending on the goal difference, of course, to ensure that they go through. So this should be quite an easy one if we can get another goal. But saying that, it's not going to be all that easy to get another goal. They've had a lot more possession than us, albeit because of the tactic we're playing. We're playing, I don't say it's a park the bus tactic, but it's a progressive tactic. It's not the gegenpress which Liverpool are used to. But I do find in bigger games that it gives us a bit more build-up. But in the smaller games, the likes of that Fulham game we won 3-0, we do play the more attacking play, and it leads to more goals. But at the same time, it can risk, like in that Southampton game, a bit of a defensive fumble. So I think this tactic works against the big teams, and, well, it won't work now. We'll go and lose both games. I'll look like a stupid idiot. But a good ball from Milner to Firmino. That's good space for Shaqiri on the left, or on the right-hand side for Salah, which is the one he goes for. But Salah makes a mistake. Equally so does the Shakhtar defender. And Firmino's into the box. He has a shot, and Claudio Bravo makes the save. I wonder if they're sold into Shakhtar, wherever he's on loan now. It's an interesting one. Shaqiri back into the box for Wijnaldum, and Wijnaldum's got 2 out of 2 today, and he's having an absolute show. I mean, unfortunately, it's not going to say he's got 2, because the first one was an own goal. But I guess this first leg, it doesn't call the game over, because Shakhtar are definitely a competitive team, but I think that we're doing well here. Adel Taarabt plays for Shakhtar now. Blimey, do you remember when our Redknapp called him fat at QPR? I mean, a player's played at QPR should never play in Europe. But nonetheless, we'll bring Lallana on for Shaqiri. He looks very tired. I didn't know Lallana can actually play on the left. I didn't quite know that. And we'll also make it a triple substitution by bringing Matip on for Joe Gomez. Now, Matip's been complaining for absolutely ages. I want to leave the club. I want to leave the club. And firstly, because it was interest from Barcelona, I said I'd accept a bid of £40 million, which was acceptable, I thought. And then they came in with £30 million, so I rejected it. I tried to negotiate for 40, they weren't having it, and Matip's moaned ever since. And now clubs are coming in with, wow, how did Firmino miss that? We'll gloss over that ever happened. But now clubs like the Chinese clubs are offering 25 million. I'm just thinking, no, you're not going for that much. That's ridiculous. And he's still moaning. So you can't quite win. And for me, until an offer comes in of 40 million, I'm stubborn. We ain't going to sell him, because Matip's a very useful player. We signed him for free from Shakhtar Donetsk, from Schalke a few years ago. And he's a solid player, so why get rid of him? And unless a decent transfer fee is commanded, then why not? And that's our third. Firmino scores his 12th for the season. Again, another goal from a set piece. And it seems that, to be honest, we've just outclassed Shakhtar Donetsk today in another league, which arguably means that perhaps we should be in the Champions League. It would be good to test our prowess against the best of the best. But at the end of the day, we've proven that we can beat Shakhtar away from home in the snow. It doesn't look like it's snowing, but you never know with 2D. In the cold, at least, in Ukraine. And we'll be back at Anfield in about 2 weeks' time to hopefully, well, inflict the pain, if you like. I don't want to inflict the pain too much, but let's just not be complacent and make sure that we close out this tie at Anfield. The good news is that Joe Hart kept a clean sheet on his debut. However, Darren Randolph also kept a clean sheet. So we've got another fixture against Middlesbrough. Just look at that timetable. It's ridiculous. We won't have played a Premier League game between the 10th of February until the 3rd of March. We've had 5 consecutive non-league games. And, well, in the let's have a look from the League Cup semi-final. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 non-league games compared to 3 league games. So I'm going to imagine that teams are going to be playing more games than us. But I'm not really too fussed about that. I'm just a bit annoyed, though, we couldn't quite get past Borough. For today's game, though, against Shakhtar, back at Anfield, we've made a hell of a lot of changes purely because of player tiredness all around the pitch. So Gomez starts at right back with Matip and Lovren in the centre-back position, with Robertson in the left-back position. We've got Wijnaldum, Keita and Henderson in the midfield, with Shaqiri and Mane on the wings with Firmino up front, which doesn't look like a particularly bad team, which I guess shows the amount of depth, not necessarily the amount of depth, but the amount of quality depth we've got, albeit. And I think now, to be honest, we're 3-0 up against Shakhtar, so we could have possibly put some of the younger players out, but I don't want to do anything stupid. And to be honest, again, we start this game as we do with every game. We start it at 0-0, but secretly, I'm quietly confident, and more confident than any other game so far this season, that we're going to finish this one off, because I just don't see Shakhtar winning this one 3-0. We haven't conceded 3 goals for, well, I can't remember the last time we conceded 3 goals. That's my whole point, but we were fairly decent at the back against Shakhtar in Ukraine. Obviously, this is more of our terrain in England, so I think we should be quite quietly confident. Wijnaldum on the wing to Robertson, and Robertson back into Wijnaldum. Nice plays this. Henderson, we could have a shot though at some point. That would be nice. Keita, Shaqiri, and it's already 1-0, and we're 4-0 up. And Shakhtar now need 4 goals to even take it. Well, if they get 4 goals, then yeah, they've won it on away goals, but I can't see that happening. There's more likelihood of us scoring, but it's nice to see our attackers working well there. Shaqiri scoring his 2nd goal of the season. A lovely shot there. A lovely first-time shot from a pass from Naby Keita, and that's very good. And this episode looks very good now, doesn't it? You know, we could potentially batter Shakhtar in both of these games, and it all of a sudden looks very good and looks like I'm a great manager, but really, I'm not. Decent ball from Henderson, but doesn't quite meet... Sorry, it was Wijnaldum, but it didn't quite reach Mane. But a decent ball from Wijnaldum on the 2nd time round. Shaqiri through to Henderson. Henderson makes a pass in the end. Mane on the edge of the box. Shoots. 2-0. Easy. Easy as you like. And Shakhtar are just bereft of confidence, it seems. And we're already 5-0 up from, what, with 75 minutes to go. Again, they've got a sore 5, and I just don't see that happening. And this is really nice to see. We might be playing a division lower than we should be. I know I was on about there's some very good teams in this game, but clearly Shakhtar just aren't up for the task, because we're not that good. We're not that good to be completely battering Shakhtar, admittedly. I'd love to say that we are. I'd love to be cocky like that, but we aren't good enough to be battering Shakhtar like this. So they're just bereft of confidence, and it's very nearly 6-0 on aggregate, with Firmino getting a shot there, but albeit the defender blocked it. A lovely ball then from Robertson into Firmino, and it's 3-0. Could this reach the double figures? I don't particularly know, but a lovely assist from Andrew Robertson there. Delightful stuff, as the commentator says. But they cleared the ball from that Firmino header. Robertson on the edge of the box. Easy as you like. A lovely cross from the left-hand side. And Firmino found his spot, picked his spot, and made it 3-0 to the pool. And we're 6-0 aggregate now. And I'm more than happy. We can bring some of the... We can make some substitutes at half-time. And I'd probably understand if the players are a little bit complacent now, because I can't see us conceding 6 or even 7 as Firmino just strikes it over there. That could have very easily been 7-0. So let's have a look at some of the other games, shall we now? It looks like Arsenal are recovering from a 3-1 defeat in Basel. Well, it was at the Emirates. It must have been the Emirates. Blimey, a 3-1 defeat at Basel. No, it can't have been at the Emirates, you plonker, because they're playing at home. Oh, I don't know what I'm going about. At Basel Stadium, but they're winning 3-0 to overturn that. But I don't think Shakhtar are going to do the same thing to us. Lovely ball from Henderson to Mane into the box for Firmino, and it's 4-0. Oh, I look like a genius, don't I? Because we've scored 7 goals in the space of 125 minutes. That's a goal, what? Every 15 minutes? Is that a goal exactly every 15 minutes? No, that would be... No, it's not as much as that. Goal about every 18 minutes. 17 or 18 minutes. It's a pretty impressive conversion rate, but the players are calm and confident, so I don't mean to be cocky now, but I am going to be cocky. It's nothing more than really a training game now because, again, I thought that, you know, Shakhtar probably won't score 3 at the start of the game, but they could have done. But I am very confident now that Shakhtar ain't going to score 7 in space of a half. I've seen weirder things happen on FM, but I have to say I don't quite think that'll happen. But we'll bring our captain Henderson off at half-time, and we'll also bring off... Who should we bring off? We'll bring Gomez off. No, we won't, because he's got a yellow card and we've got no right back to replace him. But we'll just leave it as is. I'm a bit of a shame now I didn't put any of the younger players on the bench. And we've got a few young prospects, actually. I've been looking in the under-23s. There's a few players we're going to get rid of at the end of the season, the likes of George Randall, because, to be honest, he's just not going to be up to scratch. But the likes of his name is Anderson Arroyo, I think. We signed him a few years ago. I've never heard of him for $250,000. And he's potentially very good. So, again, he could be a substitute player next year. But we've got the likes of Ben Woodburn, Ryan Brewster, Harry Wilson, those sorts of players out on loan at championship clubs who could definitely come into the club. Probably not next season, but the season after. And obviously, we've got no obligation to leave when we win the league. I like that I'm saying when we win the league. But if we win the league, we've got no obligation to leave the club. We can stay as long as we want. But I think that if we win the league next year, fingers crossed, I think I'll stay for 1 more year just to see if we can win it twice. Because it's a bit of a shame to leave the Premier League after such a short amount of time. But say, I don't know, if we win the Champions League in the league next year, I mean, I'm being stupid because I'm being so cocky, it's unbelievable. It's probably because we're winning 7-0 on aggregate, so I can be a bit cocky if I want to. I think that's fair enough. But they've put Matthew Flamini on as a right back, so that just shows how much trouble Shakhtar are in. 4-0 down in this game, 7-0 down on aggregate, and that is a lovely result for us. And absolutely fantastic stuff. But they've had a poor goal kick there, Fabinho to Milner. Can we make it 8 on aggregate? That'd be absolutely fantastic. Shaqiri to Milner. Milner shoots. It's just over the bar. I'll tell you something. It could quite easily be 6 or 7 here. I've seen the Firmino shot just go over the bar. I've seen that Milner shot just go over the bar. And as I say, it could easily be 7 or 8. But I'm not complaining. We'll make a last-minute sub. We'll bring Salah on for Shaqiri just for the sake of a substitution. You know, he's on a yellow card, Shaqiri, so it's not going to hurt. Firmino, back to Milner. Milner to Mane. Mane on the wing. I was going to say Milner on the wing now. Mane can't quite do anything with it. Wijnaldum, let's try the second time round. Milner has a shot, and it's 5-0 now to Liverpool. 8-0 up on aggregate, and that is going to be just about it. A lovely strike by Milner there. Possibly the highlight of the game in terms of that goal. And that is lovely stuff. Right, we're not going to watch that again because we saw that in real time, but still, we appreciate it was an absolutely lovely goal. Right, 2 minutes left of added time. We might get another one here. Milner into the box. Not quite. Wijnaldum to Salah. Salah to Wijnaldum. Wijnaldum on the edge of the box. Puts it to Milner. Can he put it back in? He can. He puts it into Firmino. It's 9-0 aggregate. Firmino's got a hat-trick, and that's absolutely fantastic. But we're 6-0 up in this game against Shakhtar. I'll tell you what, when this draw was made, I was not expecting it to be this easy. Wow. 6-0, that's sure. I reckon that's going to be my biggest win of the year. Possibly when we go to some of the smaller, well, some of the bigger nations, well, some of the similar nations, the likes of Spain, and we're playing some of the really bad teams in the league. Possibly we might win more than that. But 6-0, hold this one because this might be the biggest win in conquering the Euro. I'll keep a tab of it, but I don't think we're going to win any games more than 6-0. But that is an absolutely fantastic second leg. And yeah, we're unbeaten in 12 matches now. So can we go unbeaten in 13 and win the League Cup final? I'll see you guys tomorrow for that one. I'll be all suited and booted, as I am for every cup final. They don't come round very often, so I have to make them a special occasion. But I'll see you tomorrow again, folks, at 6 PM. If you're watching this in future, you can go to the channel playlist and watch that video tomorrow of the League Cup final. And make sure that you do enjoy that final. Hopefully we win. It'll be our first trophy of FM19. But thank you very much for watching, folks. But until the next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.